I'm not going to show 50 years of design as I usually do, and that is a great relief for you and for me. But I'm just going to talk about this recent project that we have done, and it was just off the printing last week, and it's been a very exciting project for us to do. The story goes that originally we started, it goes back 25 years ago. We got this assignment of designing a new map for the New York subway. And so let's see what we have done. When they asked us to design the subway map, this was the subway map that was on the train at the time. It's a diagram, it's okay. The geography is very funny, you know, and it's a little inconsistent here and there, but the major problem was all the fragmentation of the information along the lines. So when I got, you know, the task of doing it, we decided to do a very simple one, and that is the map that we designed at the time, 1972, and it was a map done, or actually a diagram, as the London diagram and many other diagrams around the world, and which follows a grid of 90 and 45 degrees. And every line had a different color at the time. We did also, previously, we designed the signage for the New York subway and allocated colors for different lines. So we had, every line had a different color. Every station had a dot. No dots, no stations. Very simple, you know. You know, it couldn't be any more simple than that. But New York being the kind of a city that it is, with a lot of people, and 50% of the people, 50% of humanity can respond to visual information, and 50% doesn't. Literary people couldn't read a map, not any kind of map, not even a street map. You know, just don't get it. So, but they have one great thing in their favor, that since they are verbal, they shout. And they start shouting that they didn't like the map, they couldn't find, they were getting themselves lost. Other people were saying that it was the most beautiful map ever seen, and so on and so forth. But eventually, the transit authority changed the nomenclature of the train, which gives a very good opportunity for changing the map as well. As I said before, every line had a color, and then they gang up the lines. So let's say that what before 3, 4, and 5, I mean 4, 5, and 6 had the different colors. Now they have all the same color. They're all green, and others are all red and blue and so on, yellow, etc. So they gang them up, and automatically the map was not reflecting the reality anymore. And there were some few mistakes here and there in the map too, I must admit, you know. But on the overall, it was just a terrific thing. Particularly if we compare it to the one that was done by the Transit Authority. This is a typical expression of what Transit Authority like to do. They like to put 5 pounds into a 1 pound bag, and of course, you know, it breaks. Here, in this map, you have geographical information on the streets. You have system information about the subway. You have just about anything, including your grandmother address and how to get there. I mean, it's just unbelievable, you know, and it's all fragmented. And this is a nice version. We couldn't find really the ugly one, which is in the train. Now that is full of post-it, you know, yellow stickers. You will see if you go to New York, you will see that kind of a thing. So ever since that time, this was substituted in 1979. So since 1979, people have been asking us, where can I find your map? Why don't you do a new one? You know, it went on for 20 years. And after 20 years, I was tired of hearing that thing. And we started to redesign the new map, you know. So I said, well, this time, let's be sure that we go straight and we make it the right thing. With this map here, which is a geographical map of the city of Manhattan, let's say, and to see where the reality of the stations are. And we look also on the satellite map and also on neighbor maps, more close, to find out really the relationship between the station and the neighborhood, the station and the streets and all these kind of things, that have to be taken in consideration. Then from that, we started to see where the major subway stations are, let's say in Manhattan, always as an example, 14th Street, 18th Street, 23rd, 28, 34, 42, all that, So they follow somehow the grid of the city that happened to be easy in Manhattan. And then there is the big diagonal represented by Broadway over there. And so we thought this time of really expressing that particular thing. So we started to design a grid, a 90-degree grid, small, and then larger, and then 45 degrees angle as well to give us all the possibilities. And then we applied that grid over the one I've shown before, determining the station and the position of the stations, which we see here. Now you see the position of the stations, they begin to belong to the map. They begin to belong to the city where they really are, and that is an important detail. Then we started to work with the line. As I told you before, the lines have been ganged up. There are the blue line, the brown line, the yellow lines, the green lines, and so on and so forth. They come from a different boroughs of New York. Those, they come from Queens, and the green goes up and down the Bronx and Manhattan, and then it goes to Brooklyn, etc. So we started to apply the line to the grid, and this is the kind of pattern that you get. And then we start to put the stations in the proper place, and then we put the name of the lines, and then we decided to put the name of the lines not at every station, but only on the express station, so that the local and the difference between the local and an express is given by the fact that you have the letters or you don't have it, which becomes a very quick way to identify. Then the next thing was to apply the names of the street, and and to find the space for doing that too, So all these components, they work together until everything falls in the right place. And then once you test it, once you work out a system for Manhattan, then you begin to see what happens when you go to other boroughs. For instance, this is in Queens. Queens happens to be Queensboro Plaza happens to be a very, very complex knot of the system with several subways going in many different directions. This is for another very important knot, which is Brooklyn. There is so many lines coming there. The confluence of so many lines is unbelievable. But again, the discipline, that we took still work. Every vertical line will go over horizontal lines. So you start with some assumptions, and some priorities, and that discipline comes throughout the whole design. And it shows once again that when you have a discipline, you don't have to look for beauty. It comes out by the clarity of the information itself. Now, the one on the left is what the transit authority likes so much. And this is what we like on the right, So I'm not going to say anything. If the transit authority wants to do that, fine. There are people that maybe like that one. But I don't see why we have to impose such a piece of trash on everybody, And all I want is to give the alternative of something else, And that is what my aim is now, to provide an alternative to the people so that people can decide and take what they want. So I think we have now a map or a diagram that really works very well and is much better than the one we did the first time. This is the one we did the first time on the left, and this is the new one. I mean, it is pretty similar, but this one corresponds to the actual situation of the subway today, and that one instead, obviously, is obsolete. But what is interesting to see is how a certain discipline, or a certain approach, and a certain system could work very well and take care of all those situations. But my final aim is really to find a distributor in the city so that we can print, 100,000 maps at a time and put it on a newsstand for a few dollars so that people can choose if they want to get a nice map or if they want to get the ugly map, and we will see. So when the opportunity of this conference came about, and it seemed to me that gravity-free was pretty good because it's exactly what we were going, gravity-free, flowing into the realm of hopes, and let's say we hope it will go. We hope we can print it. We hope the people can get it, and we are very determined, generally speaking. So it might happen. Thank you. This is.